Hi everyone, today's video is going to be kind of a chit-chatty video, and it's one that was requested, and it was my thoughts about cruelty-free makeup, and I have discussed it kind of briefly here and there, but I've never made a video about it. And I will go ahead and say I'm very biased on this because I am a scientist. If you don't know, if this is like your first video or you've never heard me say that, I am. I love animals. I have 2 dogs. They're laying in bed right now, and right above them is actually a degree from the University of Florida in zoology, and I'm currently almost finished with my master's degree in marine biology, and I plan to get a PhD. So I'm a scientist who loves animals, just to clarify. So I do have this passion for animals, and I understand why people choose to be cruelty-free. Totally get it. This is my opinion about it, and I'm not trying to change yours. I'm not trying to tell anybody that they're right or wrong, because as with most opinions, there's not really a right or wrong, unless it's like, you know, should you or should you not murder people? There's a right or wrong there. But in general, with a lot of opinions, it's just, what do you think? And I was asked to make this video, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm down for people that choose to be cruelty-free. I think that's cool. I think that's a good option for you. It's not what I choose to do with my channel or with my makeup buying habits. Now, some brands I don't like not purchase from cruelty-free. Here's a Too Faced palette right here, right in front of me. I like a lot of makeup that is cruelty-free. Too Faced, Urban Decay is cruelty-free. I believe Tarte is cruelty-free. There's a lot of different, Kat Von D is one of my favorites, eyeshadow palettes. There's a lot of different cruelty-free options, and that I think that's awesome. Here's why I don't purchase exclusively cruelty-free. I'm a scientist. I understand a lot about testing on animals. Before I became a research scientist, so currently I'm what you consider a botanical ecologist. I'm doing a field study, but I've also done stuff in a laboratory. And before that, I was actually going to, I was pre-vet, so I volunteered at a vet hospital. I was a vet tech for about 4 years. And in that, I also, you know, like I said, I went to the University of Florida and did a whole degree in zoology. So I've studied a lot about animals in research facilities because it's a big part of what I do. And I'm okay with it. I know, obviously, it's hard to know what facilities are actually doing. Legally, they have to have a vet. If you're going to have an animal, you have to have a vet who takes care of those animals, who make sure that they're in good health. And if you think about it from a purely callous business point, they need their animals in good health. Why would you purposefully treat your animals poorly when you're trying to see the effect of your product on them? You want to see if this lipstick is going to make them sick. No, it's just, fun fact, they just became not cruelty-free. That's just the first thing I grabbed, not trying to make a statement. You want to see if your lipstick is going to make your bunny rabbit sick. That bunny rabbit needs to be in perfect health condition in order to determine that. Now, I understand that some people are like, well, yeah, but you don't need to test on animals at all. You know, even if they are in good health, don't test on them. Here's the thing, and it's been proven in the past. Animals that don't serve a use anymore, they end up becoming endangered. Or not necessarily endangered in the wild, but they don't have a use for humans anymore, so they're not around. So horse meat, it's called cheval, used to be marketed in the U.S. It's still marketed in a lot of other countries. But you used to be able to process and eat horse meat in the U.S. They shut down all the processing plants. They said, no, we're not going to do that. That's kind of weird. And they did that right around the time that cars became invented. So like the 1920s, or a little bit before that, but whatever, when cars were around. And so horses are no longer used for work. They're no longer used for transportation. They can no longer be used for food. So what ended up happening is people were abandoning their horses. Like, I have no use for this thing. And that is actually kind of, so that happened for a few years, I think like 10 or 15. And then riding horses as a hobby came about. So like equestrianism and stuff. And then horses had another use. But if an animal doesn't have a use for humans, then they get treated a heck of a lot worse than they ever would in a laboratory. So they had to make a bunch of laws about not abandoning the horses when that happened, when the cheval thing happened, because they literally would just have horses tied up on, you know, like on lampposts all the time, because people are like, I have no use for this anymore. And that's a really sad, callous thing, but it's the truth. You know, if that's also why I choose not to be a vegetarian. I know a lot about how animals are supposed to be processed. Now, obviously, it's kind of the same thing. Sure, it's possible that animals are treated really poorly, but if you don't feed animals right, they're not going to have good meat, and then they're not going to sell. So again, just from a purely business standpoint, that makes no sense. Mistreating your animals, if they're using them for a product, makes no sense from a business standpoint. And that seems super callous, but it's just the truth. And yeah, I love animals. And, you know, I'm not going to lie. I have these 2 dogs right here, and they are my everything. But they're my pets. If someone had a pet cow, which does happen, you know, like if that was their pet cow, would I feel bad about eating a steak from that cow? Heck yeah, I would. But that's not how it works in like big business. They have a bunch of cows that don't even have names. They have little tags that are numbers. Sometimes they have a brand. Sometimes it's on their lip. Branding's not very great though, because then you mess up the meat or you mess up the leather. Again, it's all about a business. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with cruelty-free makeup. I think it's awesome. But I also don't think there's anything wrong with not buying cruelty-free makeup because of how those animals should be treated. Now, in different countries, they might be treated differently, and that's wrong. And I'm there, and you don't really know. But like I said, it doesn't make sense to treat them bad because then you can't really judge their effects or judge their reaction to your product. And also, now, again, we're talking about beauty products here, but like in the medical field, everything is tested on animals. And here's the truth. I love animals, you know, that aren't humans. And I say all the time, I much prefer being with animals than I do with humans. I live alone. I have my 2 dogs, and I'm good with that. You know, I love my life that has not a ton of human... Well, now I'm working every day, so it does. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool with that. But the truth of the matter is, if you have to kill, let's just go crazy, 1,000 rabbits on this drug choice, and that saves 1 human, it's worth it. It just is. Now, again, we're talking about makeup here. And so makeup's not near as serious. And if you choose to be cruelty-free, that's awesome and good for you. I don't. And that's why. So, I mean, this isn't a very funny video. I usually am a little more lively, but it's kind of a serious video to me. And it's something that I know a lot about because of what I do. And it's something I'm not necessarily passionate about. I'm not passionate about buying makeup that's not cruelty-free. I don't really care. I don't look at it. But I don't appreciate when people... Now that this has happened to me, but when people judge people for their choices, when people will go on and judge people for not being a vegetarian or a vegan or not buying cruelty-free makeup, because like I said, I'm not saying everyone does, but I know a lot about it. I taught animal science, which is the science of animals that are then used for human production, such as goats, chickens, pigs, horses, and cows. I taught that in undergrad. I know a lot about it. Now, things could be wrong, and there's a difference of opinions, and I appreciate your difference of opinion. You want to lead a respectful discussion down below? I'm about it. Let's do it. But also realize that everyone is allowed to have their own opinion. And I know people don't like this, which I think is absurd, to be totally honest. But if someone is going to post something that's hateful to other people, I'm blocking you. I'm going to remove your comment because I don't think that's right. I don't think that's how you should treat other human beings. So there you go. I'm not cruelty-free. You are. Cool beans. I'm not saying that everyone should buy makeup that isn't cruelty-free. I'm just saying that I'm not, and that's why. And I do feel like I have a lot of knowledge on this. And kind of with that, before you make an assumption or an opinion about something, try to know both sides. John and I talk about that all the time. John's my boyfriend. About how you can't really make an argument or have an opinion about something until you know the opposition or the other side. Opposition makes it sound like an argument. You know, you can't say this is how I feel about this until you really understand both sides of the argument, so then you can make an informed decision. And for this, I do feel like I know both sides of the argument. And so yeah, I don't purchase from I purchase from cruelty-free brands and non-cruelty-free brands, and I think that's okay. If you don't, I respect that, and that's okay too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, it's a little bit different, but it is something that was requested. And like I always say, I really take those requests into consideration, and I try to make them within reason. I've gotten some requests to do some crazy stuff, and I'm not going to do that. But in general, I really appreciate that. And so, as always, if you have any questions, requests, suggestions, comments down below, go ahead and leave those. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know your opinion about this. Again, always be respectful of other people. That's just how you should live your life on the internet and off Oh, excuse me, I just had a little burp. But yeah, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. I know the lighting's a little weird. It's storming, or it's about to storm, so sorry about that. But that's just my opinion. So I'll see y'all real soon. Bye.